Following the aftermath of World War II, the demand for fast, compact warplanes had ended, causing many manufacturers and airlines to shift their focus to more comfortable commercial aircraft. This sparked the creation of the Comet, the first ever commercial aircraft to roam the skies. Created by the then very famous de Havilland Aircraft Company, the aircraft had been of great value and expense. De Havilland was able to ensure their Comet had luxurious seats, high-class food, and comfort for the 44 passengers it could carry. However, despite its great value and response from the public, it ended up being a disaster. After numerous accidents and fatalities of the Comet, the aircraft industry had plummeted, causing many to lose trust in the air transport system and shed light on the dangers of commercial aircraft. Following the aftermath of the Comet came other companies all trying to recover the aircraft industry. However, the furthest ahead was Boeing. With the revolutionary Boeing 707, they were able to bring back attention to the aviation industry and restore the glory it had so helplessly lost before. Despite previous failures in the industry, the Boeing 707 has become a renowned frontier in aerospace engineering, pioneering lasting features that still change aeronautics to this day. Though it was extremely revolutionary, the Boeing 707 was not the first of its kind. Before it came the de Havilland 106 Comet. Flying for the first time on July 27, 1949, the Comet had struck the world with its impressive feats in everlasting comfort. This aircraft marked the beginning of the commercial aviation industry, introducing the addition of a pressurized passenger cabin and functionality that was never available before. With its success, de Havilland had flown leaders like Queen Elizabeth, Princess Margaret, and more, bringing the spotlight to the Comet and allowing it to flourish. Starting its journey in the industry, the Comet was introduced into the British Overseas Airways Corporation in May 1952 and became an instant hit around the world. Reigning supreme among its competitors, de Havilland had sold many of its Comets and became one of the best aircraft companies around the globe. However, despite all of this, the Comet eventually developed many dangerous problems. Having its first aircraft failure accident just 2 years after coming into service, the success of the Comet was immediately overrun by its downfall. Unfortunately for de Havilland, 2 Comets exploded over the Mediterranean, grounding the entire fleet and ending the reign of the Comet. After an extensive investigation, it was determined that the explosions came from a faulty design of the windows, which were square with sharp angles at the corners. After thousands of hours in the air, the subsequent pressurization and depressurization eventually caused many fractures and fissures around the airplane. After enough of these fissures had occurred, the aircraft had no option but to release the pressure by exploding. Overall, despite de Havilland's previous success in the founding of the industry, their beginnings eventually led to their downfalls and the plummeting of the commercial aviation industry.
Along with the many repercussions to the aviation industry, the crashes had also changed the reputation of air travel. After the many devastating crashes, the public viewpoint of commercial air travel had changed severely. Despite the many successful flights and positive feedback from influential leaders, the explosions in broad daylight were enough to sway the eyes of the public. Though de Havilland started the commercial aviation industry, they also led it to its destruction. Following the mass drop in public feedback came the Boeing 707. With its all-new Kruger flaps and redesigned fuselage, the 707 had been equipped with the technology to bring the aviation industry back from its dangerous fall. For the first time, Boeing was able to pioneer a frontier in technology, which allowed for advancements to not only transportation, but also promote change in the minds of people across the globe. When the plane first entered the market in 1952, less than 1% of customers were persuaded. However, after the massive positive feedback in airlines like American and Pan Am purchasing the 707, the industry slowly began to recover. This trend continued in the next 5 years, allowing Boeing to move its products away from military aircraft to commercial aircraft. Though many Boeing advisors considered that the company should stick with the military industry, the persistence of their buyers and customers eventually paid off.
During World War II, Boeing made several notable military aircraft, such as the B-17, B-29, B-47, and B-52. Meanwhile, Douglas, a young competitor, was surging forward in the commercial airline industry. The Douglas Company was founded in 1921 by Donald Douglas, and just like Boeing, the company started off by selling military aircraft. However, Following the Great Depression, the company invested hugely in commercial aviation. Although they did contribute some aircraft to the war cause, Douglas was touted to take the lead in commercial aviation by the late 1950s. Although there were several other competitors in the industry, these two would take it over. The production of the Boeing 707 started in 1954 when the Douglas DC-8s were ruling the commercial sky. In light of recent crashes, Boeing compromised on luxury for safety. However, much of the public rejected the plane as original test flights between late 1954 and early 1955 produced mixed results. However, a barrel roll by pilot Tex Johnson at the Lake Washington Seafair Festival caught the eye of many airplane owners.
His comment was, you know that now, we know that, but just don't do it anymore. It was fine.
Throughout 1956, Boeing released a version of the plane to the government called the KC-135, which was used throughout the Cold War and was the first choice plane for command and surveillance. By October 1957, Boeing released the dates for their inaugural flight the next year. By the end of 1958, the price was recorded as $200 then, which today is about $2,005. On October 26, 1958, the Boeing 707 made its inaugural flight from New York's Idlewild Airport and Paris's Le Bourget. At that moment, a new age of commercial travel was born. However, Douglas's DC-8 was not far behind the Boeing 707 in terms of engineering. It contained the same engine and was just a little bit smaller. However, Boeing's marketing policies won them the airline race. They were more adaptable and started building different versions for specific airlines at a higher risk. To this end, this enabled Boeing to rule the world of commercial aviation for about 60 years and counting.
Though they were similar, the Boeing 707 had various specific engineering advantages that made it a hit around the world. Most prominently, the Boeing 707 made use of groundbreaking jet engines as opposed to propeller engines. They were one of the first successful uses of technology, and it made them more streamlined, less noisy, and faster. Additionally, it had a larger capacity of holding more passengers, as instead of using a 4-seat per row design, it used a 6-seater design, allowing it to carry up to 200 passengers. This allowed more people to go on the Boeing 707, which in return had a great profit for the company. It also pioneered various efficiency-related technologies. In addition to their jet engines, they used special Kruger flaps, which were small flaps located on the wings which increased the lift of a plane. Lift is one of the most important forces in aviation, and increasing it can greatly improve efficiency. The Boeing 707 used Kruger flaps to prevent wing stall after the 2 de Havilland Comet accidents. The Boeing 707 was also designed to be entirely customizable. For instance, it saw military usage alongside regular commercial aviation. They were able to develop custom models for different airliners, a capability that DC did not have. The Boeing 707 presented various features that made it a new stage in commercial flight. It was a major step up from previous iterations of planes, with better engines, supporting technology, better design, and as such was extremely influential as a frontier to the future industry. This brought a new era of commercial aviation with unprecedented levels of comfort and speed.
Over its long history throughout the mid-20th century, the Boeing 707 has changed the world of aviation in massive ways. Most widely considered to be the birthplace of modern aviation, it pioneered lasting technological advancements and secured the industry as a whole. The Boeing 707 is arguably less remembered for its groundbreaking technology and its groundbreaking reception. It is what let the industry take off, bringing the normal populace into the air by the masses. In its day and time, naval travel was the norm, but thanks to its foresight, aviation now allows anyone to travel the world in less than a day. Overall, the Boeing 707 in every regard brought rapid growth in the aviation industry, introducing the concept of flying to an international audience and becoming a frontier in technology and travel, developing mainstream features still in use today.